Hi guys, today we're going to be trying out some more TikTok nail hacks and designs. I appreciate everyone tagging me and stuff they want to see me try, so that's what we're going to do today. In addition, at the end I will show you guys how I did the nails that I'm currently wearing because I figured out a little hack myself and I feel like it could be really useful to a lot of you, so stay tuned to the end for that. But that's really all I have to say, so let's get straight into the first hack. So this first one is a hack in the form of a product. I had this video pop up a ton and these markers look so easy to use. I know we've tried various different like pens, markers type products over the years, but I don't think we've ever tried any that have a like full color range, and also they haven't been as easy as they look. These ones look really, I don't know the word to say it, like juicy. It looks like a lot of product comes out. So I'm hoping that they are really easy to use. I guess we just have to like try and see. So here are the markers, and I'm gonna be honest, I did get these ones from Amazon and not TikTok shop. They are pretty much the same thing. So they say they are water-based, easy to color, and quick dry. So I'm really excited. I have not opened this. And here we have our nice color range. Got it like a full rainbow plus some silver and gold. These definitely look different from previous ones that we've tried. Previous ones we've tried have all looked very generic and haven't really said they're like specifically like nail art ones like these do. The tip looks like a good size, not like too small or too big, so you can still get some fine details. So I guess I should get a nail ready for us to try these on. I'm just gonna get a tip on a stand. And I'm probably gonna do that for all of the nails today because I have something else to try tomorrow on my actual nails. And these are more or less just like one-off designs. So this way you guys can see better. We can try it to the best of its ability. And let's just really quickly give our nail a white base so that we can see all the colors and do a bunch of swatches on it. For these, we need to like punch them up and down to get the product to get to the tip. Okay, look at, ooh, it came out. Ooh, that actually looks like it's coming out really easily. Wow, I'm impressed so far. Okay, I'm gonna do that to all of them. Is this one not gonna go? It looks like, okay, it has some product coming out here, but not the tip. And I'm not quite sure what to do about that. I'll set this one to the side. Gotta shake them first. You know what? I don't think I showed you guys that I finally got one of these like vortex thingies. If you've never heard or seen these before, basically it's for like stirring chemicals or, you know, shaking things up. You literally, and it's really good for gel, or a lot of tattoo artists use them to like mix up the ink. Chemists, it's just like, but it makes it so that things are really, really shaken out and stirred. And I have been using it for a little while now, and I think it's actually made a huge difference. Ooh, this one worked good. Oh, pretty. Okay, got our purple, black. Also, I'm doing this a bit more gently than I did. Oh, what is that? Is this black? This isn't the black. Okay, no, this is a brown. Just in this light, looking at them like this, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But I've got a brown, that one's working, although that one came out like a lot. Oh, but it's working good. Now we'll try the black. Ooh. Okay, black working nice. Ooh, oh my god, I didn't even notice. Oops. Okay, well, I'm just gonna cover that back up and we will deal with that later. These are water-based, so I am not super worried about cleanup. No, the tip came out of this one. Easy fix. Amazing. White works well. Green. Oop, got a big glob coming out there. Now we got red. Now we're into our metallics. This one is our gold, which looks very, very shiny. And then last but not least, we have silver, which also looks pretty metallic. And then I did get the yellow to work, so here is the yellow, very bright. Well, these are some just little quick swatches. I am actually really impressed with them so far. Obviously doing them on a nail is a different story, but we'll see. But now we do have to clean this up really quick. Okay, this can just be like scraped off, but I won't make you sit through that. Super easy cleanup. I went ahead and gave the nail a matte top coat, so now let's actually like try drawing on it. I don't even know what to draw. I'll just do like a little heart. Okay. Honestly, that's like really easy. I feel like the amount of product that comes out is really good too. Like you're not going to be trying to like desperately fill it in. Wow, okay, yeah, it's actually really easy. It is as easy as the TikTok shows, although unfortunately the talent to actually do the drawing does not come with these pens, but we'll try. I'm just kind of picking random stuff to try drawing. I'll definitely try something more intricate, but right now I'm trying to just get the feel of these because like I said, a good amount of product comes out, but I can see that being a problem because I feel like it did flood my little 4-leaf clover over here. But that also could have been because I was being a little bit aggressive about getting the product to get on the tip. Okay, I'm actually having a lot of fun with these. I feel like they look really good, especially if you're going for that type of look where it's like supposed to look like a doodle. Oops, that's supposed to be a lightning bolt. I want to see how well they layer, so I'm going to try to go on top of this, and pretty well. I was a little worried that it would like scrape off the layer underneath, but it doesn't look like it's doing that. Wow, so I am thoroughly impressed. I know they looked good in the TikTok, and I believed that person that they were like working well, but they are really easy to use. I think I can see myself reaching for these pretty often. Now that that's all dried down, I want to try putting a top coat over it. It does take a couple minutes for it to dry, but it's not really too long. And that's only if it's thicker. If it's a thin line, it seems to only need like a minute to dry. And there's not really much streaking or anything going on with the top coat. Wow. Okay, I'm going to cure that. And here's my quick little swatch slash doodle nail. So now let's try something a little bit more challenging with these. I figured it would be fun to try to do a little character drawing, not of anything too crazy, of just one of the cute Pokémon. So I'm going to give this a light mint green background because I'm going to do a deerling. And that's this little cute character right here. I definitely didn't want to try to do anything too crazy. I know I put a matte top coat on the last nail, but I'm going to try to just draw straight on top of this gel layer. With the matte top coat, I felt like there was a tiny bit of tug, so maybe this will go a little bit smoother if it's glossy. Okay, I am looking at a reference photo because, of course. I'm going to mark everything out with this white. Okay, we've got the head. Then we need to add a little snoot and an ear. Then we'll go into a little bit of the body, which is kind of like a little wavy right here. Okay, I did mess up at the bottom here. I don't know how I'm going to want to try to touch it up. I'm thinking maybe just like a small brush and a tiny bit of alcohol. I mean, I honestly maybe could even do water. Looks like it took it off pretty easily. I am finding these are a little bit messy, like around the tip. They definitely do need to be wiped off occasionally. Okay, now we can redo this part. That looks good so far. So I have my basic outline. I'm going to try to mark out where the colors are gonna go. I'm gonna fill in the face here and the body. I do think these will be better suited for probably adding like little accents or details or like really bold outlines, designs that are like meant to look like doodles, that type of thing. I just wanted to try and see if I can make like a big nail art design with just these, just for fun. Why not? I'm going in with the yellow now, and I'm gonna do a little bit of the ear. Now going in with the pink, which is probably gonna be like most of this. I feel like it looks decent so far, so I'm really scared to do the black now because this is where I feel like I could mess up. I think I might seal this in with a top coat just because the faces are always where things go wrong. Okay, Let me show you guys what just happened. So I just opened this and it did splatter a little bit, but thankfully I'm not really worried about like a stain. I think it'll come out just fine. Okay, so let's seal this in with a top coat. I'm doing a glossy one just because I think it is easier to draw over a glossy surface with these. My thick layer of white did result in some cracking though. Into the light. Let's go in on the eyes now. Okay. I really wanted to do this whole design with just these markers, but let's be real, I think that these are too thick to do the outline and I don't want to completely ruin this design. So I'm going to go do the outline in gel really quick and then I can come back for just the couple little details we can add on and then we can top coat it and move on to our next hack. There we go, much better with a thin outline. The last thing we have to do is add a little white highlight in the eye. Perfect. And lastly, a final top coat. I feel like it actually came out so cute and it was definitely easier than gel, but it definitely doesn't look as good as gel on the flip side because some of the paint is cracked and it was not easy to do thin lines or details or points. Those were super fun, but it is time to move on to our next hack. So the hack for this one is using toothpicks to get a perfect blooming gel flower. This is a really good idea and I feel like almost looks foolproof, so I'm really excited to try it. There's not much explaining about it, so let's get straight into it. I've seen this done with both 4 and 5 toothpicks, but I think I'm gonna do 5. So really we just need to bunch them up. And I just have a rubber band to gather them all together. And there we go. That was fairly easy. I want to use a pink base for this, so I'm using Digital Diva from Nails by Dev. I think a pink base will be cute for these, like in the video. I'm gonna do a second coat. Let's start out with doing the flowers white, and then we can go from there. And then we also need blooming gel. Okay, let's get this blooming gel on. Although I did pick a long tip for this, so we might have to do quite a few flowers on this. We're gonna have to work fast. All right, looks good to me. So I grabbed my toothpicks and I'm gonna dip them in. Okay, let's try. Oh no, okay, I think all of my toothpicks are not even. Yeah, they're not, it's like slanted. Let me rearrange these really quick. Okay, try number 2. They should all be even now. Okay, almost. Obviously not going as planned, however, this is absolutely human error. In the video, they use like a straw or something to keep all of the toothpicks together, and I thought it wouldn't matter. I could just use a rubber band, and obviously I see why they used a like straw to keep them all perfectly circular now. I'm gonna just take this off and redo it. It's not like I can reuse these toothpicks. I'm gonna just like glue them all together so that they are exactly how I want. Let's try this again. They are all perfectly aligned now. Shouldn't have any issues. Okay, let's try. What? Okay, that's better. This might also just be a really curved nail. I did not think ahead. Ooh, perfect. We got a perfect one. I just need to roll the toothpick a bit. Since this is such a curved nail, I feel like I got it down now. I'm gonna wipe this one off one last time so we can have a full nail of perfect flowers. So reapplying my blooming gel, dipping my toothpick in the white, and then perfect flowers this time. No! I'm gonna just wipe off that part. Shh. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. I feel like these are coming out really big though. It could just be the blooming gel itself. Okay, for real, one last time. Perfect. Okay, perfect again. So what I did was file the toothpick cluster a little bit, and that perfectly evened out all of the toothpicks, and also it gave a little bit more surface area for the gel to stick onto the toothpicks, because it was really just getting on that like little tiny point, and that wasn't really picking up enough to like transfer onto the nail. Although these are spreading out so much. I feel like maybe I'm gonna try with just a top coat and not blooming gel, because the blooming gel is blooming too much. So this is just a regular top coat. See, that looks better. Although I feel like it's still spreading out a lot. I don't know. I guess maybe just I need to be quicker. Okay, that's it. I'm curing this one. I'm over it. So here it is. There is absolutely no reason I should have had that much trouble with it. I don't know what is going on, but I just feel like the white was just spreading so quickly. I'm gonna just see if I do this on top like that without anything under it. I feel like you kind of get that effect, but I don't know. The bloomin' was just blooming too much, spreading. I don't know. Let's add some little beads or something to the center of these flowers. Let's do some of these yellow ones. I'm just putting down a tiny bit of top coat to grab the beads with. Oh no, they're sliding too. Here's the nail. I am done messing with it because what we're going to try next is a little bit similar in a way, but kind of using completely different things. So we're gonna just leave this one as is. This is a good hack, and I'm sure if you try it, you will do much better than me. So this one lets us create this like really cool looking eye without blooming gel. And it seems really simple, but also the toothpick flower seemed really simple. So I'm hoping this one goes much smoother. But what you're supposed to do is put down a top coat, put a little drop of color. They did black. I don't know what I'll do yet. I'll probably do black or a dark color also. And then put a small little dab of rubbing alcohol, and that's what makes it spread out like that. So I've already prepared a white base, and let's give it a go. So simple enough. First step is just a top coat. Okay, amazing. Then for my color, I grabbed this one. It's like a really, really dark red with some red sparkles in it. I don't know how the red sparkles will react with this method, but I figured we'd give it a go with a fun color. So we want to put a blob down, but not too big of a blob. That looks good. Then I'm going to dip my dotting tool in the alcohol. And okay, let's see if it comes to life. They did said it can take a little while, so I'm holding it. Oh my gosh, it does look like it's spreading. But I don't know if that's spreading because it's just spreading in general or if it's because of the alcohol. No, it looks like it's because of the alcohol. What? Okay, that is super cool, isn't that? A little uneven, but definitely fixable. That is super cool. I think I'll use more alcohol next time. I was a little worried about using too much, but I think I used too little. I'm just gonna cure that. Here it is all up close. You can definitely see all those little details. That is super cool. Let's try a couple more. I feel like this could get a little addicting just doing so many different colors. So I'm gonna just try to keep it at like 2 or 3 or 4. For this one, I thought doing a dark blue would be fun. Okay, got my drop on. Now let's do the alcohol. And I'm gonna dip this in, and I'm not gonna wipe it off this time. Okay, ready? I'm gonna try to do it so you guys can see really good. That is so crazy looking. I was moving around a little bit on that one, trying to make sure the camera was in focus. So that did not go perfectly, but it looks really cool still. It still looks like an eye. And it kind of just keeps spreading afterwards. It seems like a little bit too. Okay, I wonder what would happen if we did more alcohol, if anything. Ooh, we got like a second one in the center. How fun. And then just because we can, I was wondering what a cat's eye one would look like. Now, I'm not sure if I want to move the magnetic pieces before or after the alcohol. Maybe I'll try before, and if that looks good, great. And then if not, I can try after. I don't know. Okay, let's do our little dot. Okay, might need a little bit more than that. There we go. Okay, let's... Oh, I forgot that this is on a magnetic stand. So even if I do like that to it, it's gonna all just go back. But nonetheless, let's do our dot, and I'm gonna try to be really still. Okay, I can see it spreading. It didn't seem like we got any of the cool patterns in this one. And it also looks like I left some blue on this from the last. Yeah, this one kind of just like spread out. I think I'm gonna try to cure it while moving this. Since this cat eye one did not produce a cool pattern, I'm going to do black over it, just the same thing but with black. I don't know what happened. The first one went great and then these ones are not going as planned. I got some more alcohol. Maybe it was too thick. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not realize that today's video was gonna just end up basically being me troubleshooting a bunch of designs. Gonna do a much smaller blob of the black this time. That is definitely smaller. Kinda doesn't look like it, but I swear it is. Got a little bit this time, but not that much. I grabbed a different brand for my black. Okay, I think this one's doing it. Okay, this one did it. It could just end up being some brands will kind of like react with the alcohol and some don't. I was using Secret Nail Affair for the first eye and the black on this last one, and it worked on that one both times. I am so happy that we learned how to do this. This will probably come in really handy for Halloween designs. There are so many possibilities. I can also see this method working really well for like firework designs. Keep it in mind. But that all being said, let's move on to our fourth design. This one is less of a hack and more of just a design that I've been seeing everywhere and I've been tagged in tons of times. It's these hugger nails. They are so cute and I've seen so many different variations. And I've been thinking all day on what little, I don't know, character, cartoon, animal, whatever I want to hug my nail. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna do a character from my favorite video game. And he's who I'm gonna put on the nail today. So I figured I would do a French base for the nail. So I'm using creme brulee liner from Nails by Dev. And this is a French tip from Apres where there are lines indented for a guide for the French. I want to probably start about here. It does make it easy to get a like nice, clean, consistent French. Although I actually think I want to put it up one more notch. Then I'll go ahead and cure that. And then definitely doing a second coat. Then I'm going to use this pink from Secret Nail Affair. This one is Blossom. Not me thinking I was going to be able to just do the tip part with the regular brush. Then a second coat and we should be good to go. And you can see that the French guidelines are still showing through the gel, but they usually completely disappear once you put a top coat. Now I want to do just a little bit of design on the tip before we even get to the character. I'm going to loosely base my design on the pink based on the main character's default outfit. So I'm grabbing my white liner and I'm just going to line the space in between the two parts here first. And I'm actually not going to cure this because I want to end up putting some sugar powder on top of my design because it's like a wintry snowflake design. So I'm not curing it and I'll do this at the end. Okay, I'm trying to think because the design usually would point towards me, but the hugger is going to be like right here. So I'm going to do the design in this way. Now I'm going to try to freehand a snowflake. Can't remember the last time I've done one, probably about a year ago. So let's see. Okay, that's a good start. It's kind of killing me I can't cure this. Like basically no do-overs. Also, that's not even centered, is it? No. I'm getting rid of this little top piece. So it's less noticeable that it's not completely centered. So far so good. Okay, I'm looking at the picture and I think I need to do like the center part. I don't really have a ton of room to do it. So I'm just gonna do like really simple extras over here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Ooh, it is, it's cute. Okay, and then we have some just tiny little stars. Here's where I will make it look like it not being centered is okay. And then I'm gonna add just some dots, just more or less kind of random. Okay, perfect. I really like how that looks. So now I'm gonna grab my sugar powder. And this is basically just glitter. I didn't top coat it, did I? We'll deal with that later. Just gonna get some of this and just lightly sprinkle it on. I love how this looks, but I don't use it very often because I can't stand the texture like on my own nails. And then I'm gonna put this into my lamp just like this so it'll all cure on nicely and then we'll brush it off afterwards. Okay, so here it is. Let's brush it off. I'm gonna try to do this carefully. Although it probably will look like the sugar powder like cured on everything because I forgot to top coat it after we did the base colors. I also think I didn't really wipe it very well, so it's just kind of like stuck to the sticky layer on top. Honestly, it's really kind of just best to do this over my trash. That's actually better. I don't know how wiping this is gonna go. So obviously I had hopes for having the sugar powder be texture, but since I'm dumb and did not remember the top coat, I'm just gonna top coat it now, and yes, that means there will be no more sugar texture, but we gotta get rid of the lines left over from the tip and kind of also just seal the gel in. It's finally time to do the hugger part, thankfully. I'll keep a picture of him up here just so you guys know what I'm making if you've never heard of the game. So I have my white trippy gel, and you know what? I was reading someone's comment somewhere and they said to prevent the solid gel from sticking to your gloves, they use a tiny bit of cuticle oil. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I got tiny bit of oil. I'm gonna like literally just put the tiniest little dab on a couple fingers. Then I'm gonna really spread it around. Okay, we'll see how that does. I'm gonna grab some of this gel now. I think that this design is so cute because not only do you see it like from the front, but then you turn it around, it's a little surprise because it's on the back too. I'm gonna start on the back with the body so we can build off of it. Oh my gosh, who got all this gel back here? Thankfully, the body's pretty easy. It's kind of just a long circular blob. And then the head. I think that looks pretty proportionate actually, and his head is like not quite like a perfect circle. And we do have to also add a cape though. Okay, so here is where we're at. I'm gonna pop this in to get cured. And while it cures, we can work on the arms. Okay, that looks good. Now here's where like the hug part comes in because we want it to look like the arms are like coming up and over. I think that looks good, but let's do the other one. These are very hard to get on though, actually. I'm just scrunching them back a little bit because otherwise they were really long. And then also making sure to attach them to the back because it has to look good back here too. That looks so cute so far. I'm gonna just add little, hopefully really small indentations for the paws. I feel like I might need to go grab an X-Acto knife for this. They're just so small. Okay, little indentations for the paws. Now for the ears, we only need a little bit. Also, I actually do feel like the tiny bit of oil on my gloves did help because it has stuck, as you can see, a little bit to some other places on my gloves, but not to where I put the oil. Okay, on with some ears, or the base of our ears rather. I'm having such a hard time getting these ears to stick on. It's just like not wanting to stick on to what's already there. Now that we have the ears all set, I need to do the back legs. I also was thinking I wish I had done him a little bit up more. Since he wears a little cloak, we won't really see pretty much any of that in the front. His legs are kind of short and stubby, so I think I'm making them too long. Things are just not wanting to stick tonight. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna put some alcohol there, see if that helps. Okay, maybe that helps a little bit. The legs just are not coming out right. So this is where I need to stop and think about if something's not working, need to change what I'm doing. So I think it will be better if I make the legs, cure them, and then just like glue them on because I don't think it's gonna go very well trying to stick them on like that. It's just like too tight of a space and I'm having a hard time getting it to like stick. There we go. I think that's so much better. I've been trying to get the legs on for like 15 minutes and I just did those in maybe 2 minutes. So we will need to get a little bit of the glue, put it under here. Okay, I think this is as good as the legs are gonna get. We are close to being done sculpting, but he does have a tail, and then I need to do the little bit of cloak that you would see on the back. I don't know how I'm gonna put the tail on because I want it to actually like stick out. And then because I already know that there's no way this little piece is gonna just stick completely on its own, I'm gonna put a little bit of rhinestone glue down just so there's a thick gel to help grab onto it. And I kind of think I should get like a flash cure lamp out because I don't know if it'll just stick straight in the air on its own. I don't want it to like flop over. Okay, it's kind of like this, but I need it to bend. Oh my gosh, I got it. I will in fact just flash cure this really quick before we put it into the light. All right, I got the whole backside situated and now it's time to paint. There's not a ton to paint on here. It's really just like the cloak and the face. So we'll start on the cloak. I'm gonna do a second coat because it's looking a little bit splotchy. It's so hard to get it even when it's like such tiny little strokes. I'm also trying to get it like under right here. This might be one of the tiniest faces I've ever done. Like how am I supposed to do that? I gotta pull these out for a sec to see this face because it's so small. And who do I have to blame for it? Me. I literally did this to myself. That barely helped. Obviously, it was not coming out very good. I needed to do this painting about this far away from my face. So we're just gonna pretend that what you just saw turned out way better than it actually did, and this was the result. This design is so cute when other people do it, but apparently I can't do it without making the character look like they can bench press 500 pounds, because why are his arms so big? I'm gonna be honest guys, I feel like all of the nails I've done today pretty much have been giant flops. I don't know what's going on. And not like the hacks are flops, but like I'm not executing them very well, and I'm so sorry. The hugger style I would definitely try again. I feel like this back part looks pretty cute, especially with like the little tail, and it all I feel like looks okay until you get to the arms. They just look so disproportionate, and I also did the head so small that it was so hard to draw the face, and it's all my fault. So we're going to move on to our next hack, and hopefully this one I can execute better. I'm gonna take these off. Our next hack is a cat's eye nail hack, and I feel like cat's eye is something I can do pretty well. I've seen many various metal objects be used to make different designs in the cat's eye gel. And today we're going to try a screw to make a circle. I chose this one in particular because this video is really good and it's very clear about what magnets go where. So let's try it. This little vortex thing is so good for cat's eye because it really shakes up all of that magnetic pigment. So for this hack, we need one of these circular long magnets. Mine has a Santa on it. And then we need one of these short bar magnets. This one came out of one of the tools that you always see with cat's eye gel. And theirs also looks like it came out of one of those. So here it is. And then a screw. I don't know if this one will be too big. If it is, I have many others. So this looks like ultimately we will need the screw kind of like here. So I'm gonna just set that up. The cat's eye I'm using isn't quite as fine and velvety as the one they're using, but it should still definitely work. So just copying what they did is they then went and magnetized all of these pieces like so. We got a nice little shift in there. They do also push some of the pieces that way and that way. Now I've set up my magnet arrangement the same way they have. I think the thing with it is this part needs to go over top of the nail, so it's gonna have to be like this. So like this needs to be underneath essentially. Let's see if it does it. Wait, I think it's doing it. Oh my gosh, did that just work the first time? Shout out to Marisol Beauty. This was such a good tutorial for this. And I actually was wanting to do this like circle design the other day for something and I was just not feeling like troubleshooting it, and this would have been perfect. I'll actually use this hack again for sure. Wow. I am impressed. Well, I brought over a total of 3 swatch sticks because I did not think that it was going to work out perfectly the first time. So we're going to just do these ones anyway. And I brought over different gels too. Got like this red one. We'll just get this base ready. Okay, this one is like super sensitive, so I have to put the magnet like pretty far away. Look there. And also push them this way a little bit. Ready? Let me hit this with my phone flashlight. So good. The other one with my phone's flash. Also, these 2 gels were from Beetle's advent calendar last year. Okay, we have this one. It's like a purple. Those light up so quick. So good. Okay, push it that way. Push them that way. Okay, ready? Definitely one of the best cat's eye hacks I've ever seen. Like, wow, look at that. I'm glad that our last one could end on a good note. However, I am going to show you guys how I did these nails that are severely grown out at this point. They're also a little bit trashed because I have been wearing them for so long, but I already know you guys would want to know how I did it because with the method that I did, it made it so easy and I want to share it with you guys. So let's get into my own little hack using water slide decals to create nail art that kind of looks like you drew it. So let's do it. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of water slide decals before. They are more or less just kind of like temporary tattoos, but instead of putting it against your skin and wetting it, the printed part essentially slides off into a sticker that you can then put on your nail or honestly on other things. I know these decals are used for things besides nails, but for our purposes here, we're doing nails. I have always been intimidated to do these, and I don't know why. It just seemed like something that would be really tricky to use, but turns out they are not at all. They are so easy to use. So I want to show you guys how I use them, because one of the things that did deter me aside from it looking hard was that you always had to have a white background because the decals are kind of transparent. So if you didn't have a white background, the decal's color would be influenced by what's underneath. So if you put like black, you probably wouldn't be able to see it almost at all. If you did a color, then whatever you had would be tinted that color. So when I went to do my Buldak ramen nails, which is what I'm going to be doing as an example, I wanted part of the nail to be jelly, and that obviously does not work with a character that is white. And also when you print on this, if something is white, it just does nothing. It doesn't like put white ink there, it just does transparent. You'll see when I pull the decal off the paper. So let me just take you guys through the design and I'll show you start to finish how to do these because they're really so easy. And if you've ever been interested in them, hopefully after I can make it a little less intimidating for you. Essentially though, what you'll need is this water slide decal paper. You can use whatever water slide decal paper you want. This is the one I specifically have. I will of course link this and whatever else in the video, but I'm using this one. And of course, you will need a printer. You just need a regular printer. You do not need any kind of special printer, just regular inkjet printer. The paper is what makes it special, not the ink. And then you will need some sort of program. Either I use Procreate on my iPad. You can use like Illustrator. You can use, I'm sure, a bunch of different editing apps like PixArt or whatever else. If you use something like Procreate or Illustrator, Photoshop, it will be a lot easier to size and scale these down because when you're printing these, they need to be a lot smaller than you would think. For my purposes, I'm showing you guys on Procreate. So I wanted to do a full set of Hochi nails, which is the mascot for Buldak noodles. So you'll want to search for pictures with a transparent background. On Google, there is a setting for this. So when I searched for pictures with a transparent background, which will make it a lot easier, but you can always take a picture and erase the background by hand, or the app you're using may be able to do it. Photoshop does, lots of other apps will. And of course, in general, you can print out whatever you want to put on your nails. So you can print out like your own drawings, pictures, whatever. Do be mindful that a lot of characters, logos, all that kind of stuff is most likely copyrighted, trademarked. So don't do this and then like sell the nails. I know you guys are smart, but I have to just put it out there. So once you have your designs, you are of course going to want to scale them. You're either doing that with whatever program you're using, or you're kind of just trying to guess. And then I would of course recommend to print it out first on a normal piece of paper so you are not wasting your good paper. Print out just one or two small things. That way you're of course not also wasting the ink, and just try to use it as a scale from that. This part's a little bit more self-explanatory. So let's move on to my little trick. This character is white. So when you print it out, that white is not going to be there. It's going to be clear because the printer is assuming that you are printing it onto a white piece of paper. So either you're going to need to put the decal on a white background, or you're going to have to put white underneath it in the area that your decal is going to go. So what I did is I just copied all of these characters because I was doing a full set. What I did was I erased everything except the outline of them. We will use this one as an example. So for me in Procreate, I copied this layer with these two and then pasted them in a new page, and it pastes the exact same size in the exact same place. there are also easier ways to do this. You also can like draw and trace over. You can use different features of some programs to erase the colors and keep the black outline. There's different things you can do. But for ease, I'm just gonna show you erasing it. So I came in and just erased everything except the outline. And I'm erasing everything on the design, not just the white part, because it won't be as vibrant if white isn't underneath the whole decal. When you're done erasing, it should look something like this. And this is what's going to be our guide for the white base for the decal. So once you've done your like little test scale piece, when you go to print this out, you're going to want to make sure you select that you're using glossy paper and print at the highest resolution. Whether there's color or not, that's up to you. And here's what mine look like. We have our outline and then of course the just like full color design. However, we're not done, okay? This needs to be sealed. The printer ink is just sitting on top of this sheet. We need to make it so that there is something for that ink to stick to and slide off of the sheet. So what I used is a spray acrylic sealer. I don't have it with me in this second, but this is the one I use. And you're going to take this outside and you're going to do a few light coats of the sealer. You want to do light coats so you don't get like texture in it. You don't want blobs. And I would say do at least 3 coats. I think I probably did 5 or maybe even more on these. And you want to let it dry in between. You don't have to let it dry for like whatever the 24 hours that the can says, but probably like 20, 30 minutes in between coats. And then you're going to want to let it dry fully for at least a few hours after your last coat. Obviously, like the next day is better, but at least a few hours. And then finally, you're able to use it. So now let's put that all into action, but first we needed to do our background. For the orange, I'm using pumpkin juice from Ball Pit, and I'm doing a ombre. So I'm just putting down this coat on about half of the nail, and then I'm going to feather that down. And I have a little bit of base coat in this ombre brush. Then I'm going to cure it, and then a second coat. For the yellow, I'm using this jelly color from the nail. Let's see, this one is FS76. And then I'm going to kind of just do the same thing, but with this yellow color. But I am overlapping a little bit more just because it's a jelly. And there we are. I'm only doing 1 coat of the yellow, so I'm going to just cure this. So I'm not going to use this cauldron one because I did accidentally cut into it a little bit more, but instead I'm going to do this other Halloween one. So of course I'm going to start with our outline. To get to the edge as close as possible and as easily as possible, I used an X-Acto knife on a cutting mat, but for the purposes right here, I'm just going to cut it. As you can see, I did in fact print off a bunch of random things, and then I'm just cutting it out as close as I can to the outline. This is a little bit of a bigger decal, and you have to remember that it's going over a curved surface, so you might get a little bit of puckering when you're like trying to smooth it out on the nail. And that also depends on how thick the acrylic coat you put on was. But to kind of mitigate any like puckering or anything like that, I have been just like cutting in a little bit at some areas to try to let it just like smooth over a little bit easier. Just like a couple minor relief cuts. If you want to wipe the sticky layer off, is a personal preference, but I do because I like to be able to move my decal around a little bit. So now I'm going to just put my decal in the water. This will take anywhere from like 10 to 30 seconds, depending on how long ago you made your sheets. When I first did these, I used them the same day, I think, and they slid off with just like 5 or 10 seconds, but now that it's been a month, they do take quite a bit longer in the water before the top will slide off. And I'm holding mine, but you can also just like let it go and pick it out. It's a little more secure for me this way. I'll fling off some of the extra water, and then your decal should slide off like so. So then bring my nail over and set it down and try to flatten it down the best I can. And you can probably see right here that it's puckering a little bit. It's not going to be workable for a really long time, so you want to kind of just be sure to do this quickly. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to leave it like that and let it sit and dry for a few minutes before I put any gel on top. While that dries, I'm going to grab out my white liner or white gel, whatever you want to use. And then because I have a lot of detailed edges, I'm going to use a skinny brush, but you use whatever you want. And now I'm just gonna fill in the outline. If you're worried about messing up this part, you can also put a base coat on top of your outline layer. While curing that, I'm gonna cut out our design now. I wanted to do a full set of nails for this character because honestly I feel like I owe this little chicken my life. Over the past couple of years when we've been in heavy stages of grieving, I was not able to cook, and I normally cook every day, but I just didn't have it in me to make really much of anything. But there was a time where, and I am not exaggerating, we probably had buldak noodles for dinner 5 days out of the week because they were super easy to make and just like add things to. So yeah, I love this little mascot. All right, the base looks good. So now let's put this one on, and it is the same process. And then I'm gonna again slide it off like this. And here you can see what I mean now by it will take color of whatever's behind it. But now I'm gonna just put this to my best ability, just right on top of where the last one was. You probably will have to move this around a little bit. If anywhere is sticking up and you can't get it to lay down, you can always go and just do a little slice, and that should help it. I like to try to just push down areas with my finger carefully. And then I'm gonna let this dry for about 5 minutes just to make sure all the water is gone. Now I'm gonna seal mine in with a base coat. You can do a base coat or top coat, whatever you want. If that's all you're gonna do on the nail, I would recommend doing like 2 top coats, just because with things like this, even just regular nail stickers, after a while it can start to lift. So I would say do a top coat and then buff it so that way the second top coat like really sticks to it. Otherwise the second top coat might peel. But I have some stickers I'm gonna put on this one, so I'm just doing a base coat. For some accents around it, I'm using these flame stickers in red, orange, and yellow, and I'm gonna wipe my sticky layer off. And then these are technically way too big, so I like to chop off some of it before I put it on, and then just sticking these on like normal. I'm gonna just cut off any overhang on these stickers, but do not worry about it being so close to the edge because I'm gonna show you how I made them last on my nails. Like I said, those were on probably like over 3 weeks and I didn't have any of these peel. So I chopped off what excess I could of any of the stickers. And now I'm gonna top coat the entire nail. Make sure you're getting all the edges, especially any of the stickers on the side that are just kind of like almost hanging off. And then cure. After curing, I am going to file all sides and lightly buff the top because do you see like right there, even if I top coat this in, which I did, that little part will not last 3 weeks. So we want to make sure that we have that off, or any pieces like this that are hanging off from our decals also filed off. So you'll want to make sure you go over the sides and kind of underneath, especially at like the tip here. And then like I said, you'll also want to buff the top. Then of course wipe with alcohol. And then now I'm gonna do my second and final top coat. Again, making sure to seal in all of those edges. And there we have it. That is my trick with the water slide decals. I personally just think it looks so much better to have a different color background than white for every single time you want to use a decal. And it's really so helpful if you want to do a bunch of designs. Like I could not imagine how long it would take me to do 10 nails of what I did with these decals. Also, I suppose this is our first Halloween nail design since, you know, she's dressed up in a costume with her little candy basket. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Keep tagging me and stuff you want to see me try. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!